What is happiness? When I was a kid and my parents asked me what I wanted to be, I wouldn't give them the average answer like a fireman, a policeman, or a superhero. Okay, well maybe sometimes I said I wanted to be Spider-Man, but most of the time I'd say I want to be happy. I'm 17 now and happy is still all that I want to be. On the screen you can see two photos of me. On the left, a photo from 2015, and on the right, a photo from just a couple of weeks ago. Living life in HD. Do you see a difference in the photos? Not really, right? Well, I'm here to tell you all about it. Research shows that the top 5 problems teenagers face today are the following: drug addiction, pressure from studying, pressure in relationships, constant need to look good, and lastly, the need to excel in every aspect of life. Now, to be honest with you, if I was still the same guy I was in 2015, I would agree with all of these things, and I would probably say that these are the biggest problems that I'm going to face throughout my teenage years. Thing is, I'm not the same guy I used to be, and I see the world from a whole different perspective. And I hope through my eyes and experience, you guys can see these 5 problems and the other problems which we face on a daily basis as just a small problem that has a solution. So last year during summer holiday, I went to India. Towards the end of my trip, I started to feel really sick. I started vomiting, I had a stomach ache, and I just didn't feel right. When I came back to Hong Kong, I thought that all these problems would slowly start to fade. So like any normal teenager, I continued going to the gym, I continued playing rugby, and I continued going out with my friends. When I would be in the gym or I would be playing some sort of sports, I would get tired about after 5 minutes. And I would start to see black patches all around. I thought that this was just because I might have slept late the night before, or maybe my fitness levels had just dropped because I had enjoyed myself on holiday. So, it was the first day of school. I was starting my senior year. Thank God, there's only 1 year left and I'm out of here, right? But I was in my form room and my teacher looked over at me and she said, "KJ, you're looking a little bit ill, is everything okay?" And I told her, I think I just slept a little too late last night. So, yeah. And then I was walking down to the hall for assembly. Something at the back of my head kept on telling me, go to the nurse, go to the nurse, go to the nurse. So I listened to the little voice inside my head. I went to the nurse and after being in the nurse's office for about 2 or 3 minutes, I started to vomit everywhere. She called my mom up and said, "I think you need to take your son to the doctors, he's not feeling very well." My mom took me to the doctors, I did some simple blood tests, and the doctor told me that they'd call me if anything was wrong. So I was happy, I was like, yes, 1 more day off of school, why not? And that same night, I found myself in a position where I couldn't breathe, and I felt like my stomach was going to explode. So my mom rushed me to the ER, and I was admitted to hospital. A week after being in hospital, there was still no diagnosis, so my parents thought it was best if they just took me home. Symptoms got worse, and I was starting to cough blood, and I could barely make it out of bed. I had no energy at all. So they took me back, I was readmitted. It was September 1st, 3 days before my 17th birthday. I was diagnosed with congestive heart failure. After that, I was transferred to Queen Mary Hospital, where I was treated by a pediatric cardiac team of doctors. I spent 4 months in ICU and the high dependency unit, and I underwent multiple operations, one being the insertion of a defibrillator on the left side of my chest. Keep in mind the operation was done under minimal anesthesia, and I was awake throughout most of the operation. I can still hear the blade at the back of my head sometimes, and that's what scares me the most. The last operation I went through was an LVAD operation. An LVAD is a left ventricular assist device. It helps the weakened left ventricle pump blood throughout the whole body. It's inserted into someone's body through open heart surgery. As you guys can see on the screen, that pump right there is what's keeping me alive today. The pump is underneath the chest. As you can see, I have an open wound on my chest, and the wire leads out to a controller, which then leads to 2 batteries. Just to show you guys some statistics about heart disease in Hong Kong, since 2014, 79,900 inpatient discharges and inpatient deaths were due to heart disease. Heart disease is also the 3rd leading cause for death in Hong Kong since the 1960s. And lastly, Hong Kong has 43 LVAD patients as of the 14th of February 2017, me being the youngest one. So going back to the title of this talk, Living Life in HD, I feel after going through so much and going on such a tough journey, I see life so differently. I try to make the best of things, and I don't think that people have to go through such a tough journey to see life in the same way that I do. So today I'm here to tell you how to live life in HD. Firstly, stop focusing on the negative. When I was readmitted into hospital, I was possibly the most negative guy that there was. I kept on saying these really negative things, and my doctors had given me 6 months to live, and I needed a solution. One day, my doctors came to my room and they told me, there's a solution, it's called an LVAD. And I was scared. I wasn't scared because of the machine, but I was scared because my whole life would change. Could you imagine being told that your whole life would be battery operated, and that you would basically be like a walking iPhone, and then at night, before going to bed, before plugging your phone into charge, you have to plug yourself in? I was scared because I didn't know how the people around me would react. How would my friends react? Would they treat me better, or would they still treat me the same? I was constantly being told about all these things that I wouldn't be able to do after receiving my LVAD. Swimming, not an option. Going to university abroad, not an option. Going on a graduation trip with my friends, also not an option. So one night I thought to myself, why am I always being told about the things that I won't be able to do? Won't I be able to do so much more than I can right now? Won't I be able to get out of hospital, start walking, and go home? That's when my whole thinking strategy changed. I kept on telling myself, stop wasting time on the negative, stop wasting time on the things you can't do, because there are so many things that you can do in comparison with what you can't. Secondly, always know that there is an alternative. I was really upset when my doctors told me I wouldn't be able to play rugby anymore. And obviously it's very hard for someone who's battery operated and connected to machines to go out on the field and play a match. But I kept trying to come up with ways how to beat this. Sadly, it's not possible, but I found an alternative. I'm still able to be very much involved in the sport. I'm still able to sit on the sideline with my friends and watch a match. And I'm still able to motivate them. That's a lot more than what I could do when I was in hospital. Another example is my LVAD bag. When I was first given the LVAD bag was possibly the ugliest thing a 17-year-old boy could be wearing. I was so scared, and I was like, what are people going to think of me if I'm wearing such an ugly bag? So I worked with my parents and my doctors and nurses, and we tried to come up with a way to beat this. When I first got my LVAD, I told myself that if I'm going to do this, I need to make sure that I'm never upset at the fact that I have this machine supporting my life. So we worked on a bag, we went out, we bought a bag, we worked on the design of the interior of the bag, and we worked on a way how to make it possible for my controller, batteries, and extra batteries to fit in this bag. When the bag was in the works, I was possibly the happiest guy ever, and I was so happy because I would get my sense of normality back. I wouldn't be having to wear such an ugly bag around. And I designed a backpack, which if any one of you saw me, you would probably think that it's just a normal backpack and I'm just as normal as you guys. The next thing, never give up. I never realized the power of people's words and thoughts. When I was first admitted into hospital, I was such a negative guy, and I had never experienced so much pain in my life. I kept on saying things like, I want to die. Why can't this just stop? Why is this happening to me? Can it just stop? And when I was readmitted into hospital, something came out wrong in my chest x-ray. So my doctors decided to do an echocardiogram on my chest area. And I was wheeled down to the echocardiogram room, and I spent about 45 minutes in there. Those 45 minutes changed my life, because at the end of it, my doctors were saying, you're going to die, your heart is barely beating, you have minutes left, hours left, or days left. And I turned all this negativity into positivity by telling myself and telling the people around me, such as my parents and my family, that I'm going to beat this. I'm a strong guy. I'm still here to live, and I have so many things to experience. Lastly, carpe diem, the famous saying, seize the day. If I'm going to be honest with you guys, before going through this, I used to take a lot of things for granted. I used to think that I would never be that 17-year-old guy who ends up in hospital and might have his life taken away. But after going through all of this, I'm still able to stand here and speak to you guys. And I've learned that you've got to make the best of every minute we have. You never know when something could be taken away from you. And I've learned this. I'm living life every day in HD. I want to ask you guys, when will you start?